Welcome to Nacho Fitness Coach,
where we're all about keeping it real in the world of fitness.
I'm Sarah, your go-to fitness professional, cutting through the BS to bring you the truth.
And I'm Caleigh, your fitness newbie, here to ask the questions you're too afraid to ask.
From crunches to kale, we've got the inside scoop on what works and what doesn't.
Because fitness should be fun.
So Caleigh, what do you like to listen to when you work out?
I don't know, sometimes a podcast and sometimes music.
Hey, wait, this is a podcast. What if you could have both?
At the same time?
Oh, yeah. Podbeat is a free mobile app that lets you add any beat style to any podcast for your workout. It's easy to do and free to download in the App Store. Caleigh, you sound pretty cool with the trap beat, but Sarah, the funk beat works for your voice.
So if you want to make our podcast work for a workout, check it out in the App Store.
They even have Podbeat for Android users in the Google Play Store. Okay, on to the show.
So Caleigh,
So Sarah.
I feel like at some point between episodes, you said, I don't really feel like we've ever really talked about stretching.
No, I think we even had a listener that requested that we talk about stretching.
We did?
Yeah.
You do a
forgot to
better
tell you
job
about
watching the social media than I do.
I do a much better job.
You are our official social media manager.
I had to wish myself a happy birthday.
I'm so proud of you for that. That's so nice. Hey, let me know it was your birthday. But now it's on my phone and it's official. So now I know.
Good.
It's always one of those awkward things though, to like ask people, hey, what's your birthday? You know, to like be able to put, and I like to wish happy birthdays.
I don't have this problem. And I don't have birthdays turned on Facebook.
Yeah.
I have this weird thing where I remember everybody's birthday. People that I went to elementary school with. Alan's birthday is January 3rd. Your birthday is May something.
No. Failed.
27th.
Nope.
It's in May.
I
I feel like that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
In your kids.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know Elle's birthday. Gavin's birthday is in November.
Yeah.
Ty's birthday is in... I probably shouldn't just be giving this information out.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, you know.
Yeah. Anyway, that's
Anyways,
not the point. But
you know the month.
I know people's birthdays.
That's impressive.
Yeah. Thank you.
So
Anyway,
thank you for being our social media manager and knowing birthdays.
You're welcome.
And wishing yourself a happy birthday. It's great. Do all of the things. Today, can we talk about stretching?
Yeah.
So as per listener request, and you mentioned it, so it's like a double whammy. We are going to talk about stretching.
Yeah.
What we should do for stretching. And, oh, that's right. Was it Desiree that asked about stretching?
Yes.
It was. Okay. So Desiree.
Hey, Desiree.
I know you listen. So we're going to talk about stretching today. Yeah. And I've never been a personal fan of stretching.
Yeah, I've gotten some stretch hate vibes from you.
Yeah. Definitely not static stretching because I don't got time for that. But what I love is that now there's research that's come out that proves I've been right all along.
Wow, that must feel really good.
It does feel good.
I love it for you.
I love feeling right.
Good.
Most of the time I know I'm right anyways, but
right. But it's nice to have it validated.
It does help to have a published journal.
Yeah.
That says I was right all along.
Love it.
So,
proof right there. So you don't like
now,
you don't like a static stretch.
Do I think that there is some yoga that can help with some mobility and things like that? Yes, I do think everyone's different.
Yeah.
And I probably could actually like work on some things better. But if I'm looking at needing to schedule time to stretch before I start a workout, if your goal is related to strength, speed, power.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if you're in the weight room, you're probably going to have one of those three things in mind.
Sure.
I mean, you're either trying to get stronger, have more power, or get faster. Static stretching is not your friend.
And that is stretching that is not moving. That is just
right. That is
still.
Yeah, it's holding that pose for 30 seconds. Bending over, touching your toes, and holding that.
I think I just learned early on for some reason. I don't know. Maybe I just got lucky coming across this information. But as I've always understood that you should do static if you're going to do static stretching, do it after a workout.
Yeah.
I've always kind of, since I've been working out, not always, but I've always kind of known that it's worthless before a workout.
It is worthless before a workout. Don't do it. You can use it as part of your cool down routine.
Right.
If you want, like if something feels tight or
Yeah,
whatever, like it can definitely be beneficial there when your muscles are already warm.
Mm-hmm.
And
right.
you can do that, but it's not helping you if you're trying to do static stretching before your workout. So here are the key points. I'm not going to read the abstract because it's still just white paper gibberish.
Yeah.
Really. But they do list the key points in this PubMed, in this article. So the key points are that static stretching has a negative effect even on balance and agility performance compared to dynamic stretching.
A negative effect, meaning it's going to
it's worse. Yeah.
Make it worse.
Yeah. Balance and agility performance. Now, let's define dynamic stretching, because dynamic stretching is you're still stretching, but there's maybe some movement to it. If you're going to hold it, you're holding it for just like a second, but then you're moving on, and you're prepping yourself to be mobile and do things with the intention of warming up and preparing yourself for like what you're going to have ahead. So there was no effect of stretching protocols on reaction time. So if you're looking at increasing reaction for any reason, it was kind of a wash. Dynamic stretching was more effective than static stretching for increasing movement time of the upper extremities, which I did think was kind of interesting.
That is interesting.
Now if you pull up this article and you do read it, this specifically was a study done on high school athletes and their exercise, it's just warming up protocol, what it typically looks like, which I can justify this because I've been helping with middle school track this season, and they just had the same routine that they've been doing for years and years and years and years. And it was started off with a whole slew of static stretches.
Bend over, touch your toes.
Yep. Hold it.
The old shoulder.
All the things, the arm across the body, arm behind your body, all the things that, it
and
just
you told
had
them
not been
knock that
updated.
shit off.
I did.
I'm sure you were
tried to be
super
really nice about it because I was like, I can't handle this. I'm not going to watch the kids do this when I know it's not actually what's right for them.
What a waste of time.
It is not what we need to be doing. And so they did move into a series of dynamic stretches after that, before they had them do like a jogging lap. But the dynamic stretches were actually more even like track warm-up stretches. They were dynamic, but we scrapped it and we reworked the whole thing. And it's still a work in progress, and there's things that we can make on it, but they've cleaned up their workout tremendously. They also learned the power of dressing appropriately for spring weather when, you can't just tough it out with shorts and a t-shirt, because if your muscles don't get warm and you try to sprint when you haven't sprinted in a long time, or probably since last track season, really, you're going to have some pulled injuries. So, they're learning that there's a reason why you're doing this. And so, same thing though relates to adults. This did have somewhat of a smaller sample size than what I would like to see in papers, but at least it was a start, and it was a good point of just kind of say, hey, we studied this and here's the differences. And we actually did see differences, around static stretching versus dynamic. So that's definitely the key.
Huh. Yeah, that's all super, super interesting.
Find movements to get you prepared for your workout. In a movement. So the other thing I did in getting ready for coaching was I was going back through the fundamentals, and you are like, okay, well then what's the point of a warm up, right? Because a lot of times you maybe have a program that you're following and it will either say to warm up. Sometimes it gives you specifics on how to warm up, but knowing why you're doing it, I think makes it easier to follow it and not just like cut it out, because you want to cut, 10 or 15 minutes off of your workout time. Right. So this fundamentals of coaching class that I took to get ready to get my coaching hat back on again, it defines a warm up as this.
Okay.
From the National Federation of High School Associations.
All right.
So Effective warm-up moves fluid of the muscles, joints, and connective tissues to increase the temperature of the muscle and to help deliver oxygen, carbohydrates, and fats to fuel exercise. A 10 to 15 minute warm-up should typically involve low-intensity activities similar to those used in the sport. So dynamic stretches, they're moving. You know, if you're going to be doing mostly a lower body workout, then making sure that you're focusing on getting, you know, your quads, your hamstrings, everything moving, your calves, that is going to be used in what you're doing.
Right.
Dynamic stretching should be included in the warm-up, and static stretching should be used in the cool down when the muscles are warm, offering an opportunity for improved elasticity, flexibility, and range of motion. So the moral of the story is a warm-up. Just think about it. You're moving slowly.
Yeah.
To get into it. Don't start with static stretching.
Yeah, I don't want to sound like an asshole, but I just feel like this
is a duh moment. Like, well, duh. I knew that already.
Yeah, I think I did. When I go down on strength training days, and I always do run a mile. I don't consider that part of warming up. Well, waking up, I guess.
Yeah.
Run, have a good cry, you know, and move on with my day. But after my mile, it's a run walk. Just get down, get the blood moving a little bit. And then I have this 5-minute YouTube warm up that I do. That's dynamic.
Should you do that before you're running?
I do it after. I'm
just asking. Do you think
know.
you
You're
should do it? I mean, you probably should be doing that before you're running.
I don't want to, and I'm not going to.
Do whatever works best for you.
Thank you.
Don't come crying to me when you get injured.
I've never come crying to you.
No, not at all. Mm-mm.
But never seen me cry.
I've never seen you cry. That's true, because I don't run with you. Oh, that's your only time that it like works. But I do think it is something that can be helpful, and it depends on your goals, right?
Sure.
Now, I do think that there's something to, I'm hoping we find time soon to get her on as a guest, because a dear friend of mine, old college roommate, she's been in the fitness world for 2 decades now, and she has been through it all: personal training, weight training, group fitness, switched into the yoga, and now she's heavily doing mobility work. And she shares some information. She was working with the local football team about mobility. And so I'd like to have an entire episode where we talk about her mobility training and how it's different than just static stretches, how it's just different than dynamic stretches, and how it's kind of like this whole new thing. Because I think it'd be interesting just to kind of throw that out there too as another piece of information. You'll see people talking about mobility and mobility training and making sure that you're moving to where like your hips and your joints and everything is functioning correctly.
Is that kind of what that Squat University kind of focuses on too? It's like mobility.
Squat University, he's a great follow for social media. He does a lot of just form for squats.
Okay, yeah. I follow them.
His whole stance is giving you correct information of how to make sure that you're squatting correctly.
Okay.
He's a big barefoot shoe guy. And some mobility, because it's like, okay, sometimes your mobility limitations are affecting your squat.
Right.
Sometimes your ankle mobility is greatly impacting your ability to squat correctly.
Yeah.
It's not always just your hips, and it's not always your knees.
Right.
And so, sometimes if you're looking at trying to learn how to do that movement correctly, then there might be some things about your hip mobility, your ankle mobility, your other joints. So he does kind of get into that stuff a little bit, just because it then directly translates to your ability to move well.
Right.
So, which I do think is something that people want to be able to do. I mean, you want to be able to move, and you want to move well. Right. Like nobody wakes up in the morning and says, "Oh, I can't wait to just ache to walk today. Yeah. I can't wait for my feet just to be hurting all of the time."
So many people just live with it.
They do. And I don't know why. Don't get me wrong. I do think there are some things that come with natural aging.
Sure.
But I also feel like until you hit 80, you have the power to change it.
Yeah.
And so it's up to you to either do that or not.
But if you're 80 and above, then it's over.
There was a book my husband would know it, but there was actually a book that was out that talks about you have the power to reverse aging. But once you do hit 80, there are some things that just naturally start occurring that
bad news.
I know, but
darn it.
At that point you've had a full life.
Damn, dude.
I caught your attention with that one, didn't I? I'm not saying you should give up over 80, but there are just some natural things that start happening with your body that are not, I wouldn't say inevitable, but it just changes.
I'm not arguing with you. You're just very blunt about something. I don't know where you came from.
I don't know either. But yeah, so I don't know. That is a question we had. We haven't really talked about it. People do want to know if stretching should be a thing. Is it a thing? So it's not a thing for me. I really don't.
You don't do it. You don't. No. She doesn't go here.
No.
So you don't like. No. I do like to do a little stretch before.
If it makes you feel good
before my workout. I've done my workout plenty of times without stretching. I don't know.
My preference is
whatever makes you happy.
My preference is to slowly work into the movement I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Without it loaded first. So I'm like, okay, if I'm going to be doing squats, then, maybe I'm going to duck down into a really super low squat and just kind of like rock back and forth and get my hips kind of moving a little bit and get my hips below my knees and then stand up a couple of times and then, kind of build into that natural kind of squat movement, just kind of moving.
Yeah.
Because I think feeling your body is also a huge part of it. You shouldn't just be going through the motions. You need to be paying attention to what your body is doing too. And so there's actually, at one point I went to a fitness continuing education thing, and biofeedback is a style of warming up and moving yourself through your workout where you're basically like, there's a process in which you ask your body for permission if it's ready to do that exercise for that day. It's a very interesting kind of approach to strength training.
Wow.
The ones that are really into biofeedback, but it's kind of the same thing. It's like, okay, you're paying attention to what your body's doing. Is it moving correctly? Yes or no? And if it's not feeling the movement that day, all of them will swear that if they chose not to listen to the feedback process that day, they got injured because their body wasn't ready.
That's giving me the same vibes as like people who swear that they can like potty train their like 2-month-old baby.
No, they just have trained you. For sure. They've just trained you.
You ask your body for permission.
Yeah,
ask it if it wants to move.
I know. You know what? Hey, we should be open-minded to discussing.
I feel like some people make the whole stretching thing like super, super deep. It's super, super serious. Is it as super deep and as super serious as people make it out to be?
No.
Okay. That's all I wanted to know.
And I don't think you have to be, I think at different stages in life and different things you have going on, you probably have maybe different levels of it that you need to do.
Yeah.
And depending on your workout and what you're doing. And, but the overall goal is that you're prepping yourself for the movements you're trying to do. So depending on your workout, your warm up could look completely different each time.
Are you more likely to hurt yourself
by not doing a warm up?
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't go straight into loading the bar for a 1-rep squat.
Right.
I mean, so some of that you kind of naturally do.
True.
In strength training anyways.
Yeah.
Because like I wouldn't even try that. I mean, you would just fail. But if you actually would warm up properly and get kind of yourself moving and feel like your muscles are warm, you could go tackle a 1-rep squat, but it's probably going to take you 10 or 15 minutes to work up to that at least, right? So if you just think about it that way, then you're not going to go out and run a earth-shattering 100-meter dash. If you're just out of the cold, you hopped out of the car and you went to the starting line and you ran 100 meters versus if you took the time to warm yourself up, you would probably have a different outcome.
Yeah.
And so when you think about it from that standpoint, you'll see, okay, there probably is a purpose for it.
Right.
It's worth doing. Just do it for what you need it to be, but don't do static stretching first.
That sounds very commonsensical. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, there we go. So now the National Library of Medicine actually has a PubMed.
I love that for you. I really do.
I know.
I'm not even being facetious about this.
I don't nerd out a lot,
like to be right. Everybody likes to be right.
I do like to check social media posts. That if they reference something, I do like to go look it up and make sure that it's legit.
Yeah,
and read the abstract, at least in the key points a little bit, just because there's a lot of garbage on social media.
You're built different.
Okay.
I see a TikTok and I'm like,
this is right? Yep.
Jeremy, did you hear that oranges are actually vegetables? Somebody said so on TikTok.
It's like, okay. Oh, you know what? There was a random, we were at a restaurant, a breakfast place, and they had like trivia on their kids menu, and it was like, okay, what fruit is in the berry family? And it was like an apple, a banana, I don't know, there was 2 more options. And I was like, none of those
is an apple
are in the berry family. None of them. It said banana was the right answer.
Oh, I can see it.
How?
Because it like grows in a bunch on a tree.
Really?
That's my standard, I guess, for berry.
Strawberries don't grow in bunches.
Oh, yeah.
And that actually has berry in the name.
We got into one of these the other night at the dinner table talking about like whether pumpkins were fruits and like what makes them similar to what. That's a whole thing. That's a whole rabbit hole you could go very, very far down.
In the berry family.
I think I have heard that.
Surprisingly, this may sound, botanically speaking, bananas are considered berries. The category a fruit falls under is determined by the part of the plant that develops into a fruit.
So wait, are berries like a subset of fruit? Well, I mean, obviously, yes. Jesus. It's so late. I'm so tired.
Yes, Caleigh. Bananas are a subset. Berries are a subset of
holding
fruits.
Me here against my will. She's not allowing me to go home to my family. It's 3 a.m. and I haven't slept
It's
in
not.
6
She's
days.
lying. It is not 3 a.m. Wow. Botanically, wow. There we go. Now we know. The classification is a part of the tree that develops into the fruit. For example, some fruits develop from flowers containing 1 ovary. Others develop from flowers containing multiple
Ovules. Did you just laugh when you said ovary? Like a 13-year-old boy?
Yeah.
Jesus.
We tend to do that around here. I wasn't expecting that flowers come from ovaries.
Oh my God. Okay. Oh my God. What I meant.
Did I miss that in like high school egg class or something?
That when you took high school egg class, I think you missed that.
Fruits develop from flowers. I did not realize that flowers contain ovaries.
Not like an ovary like you and I have, obviously.
Well, obviously. Because that'd just be weird. Okay, well, I don't know how we got from stretching to berries and ovaries, but we just got there.
What are we calling this episode?
It says stretching.
I know, but what
is a banana a berry? And why do you stretch?
Did I just ask you if berries were fruits?
Yeah, you did. Okay, well, I think we are beyond our limit for this episode, so I guess we'll just end it there. Listen, people, warm up. Do dynamic stretches, save static to the end, and you'll be good to go from there. So until next time.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to head over to our Instagram at Nacho Fitness Coach and let us know how you feel about the topic. Do you love it or hate it?
Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe or follow button wherever you're listening. And if you like our podcast, leave us a rating. See you next time.
You've been listening to Euphony Innovatives Sonified.